Hello students. In the previous class, we have seen how we can use PHP to connect to our database. In that example, we have seen how we can insert or we can add data in the table. Now, today, in this example, we are going to see how we can read the data from the table. So, let us understand this with the help of an example. So, this is a program which is written so that we can connect to the database. We can read the data from the table. So let us get started. The first statement is doctype HTML. Then we have written HTML. Here you can add a head section, you can add a title and complete the code. Body. Inside the body we have a heading H1. Then we start with our PHP code. Angle bracket question mark PHP indicates beginning of the PHP code. Like in the previous example, again we have three variables. The first one is server name. It is the same variable that we have used, so that means we are using the same database. PGSQL indicating we are using PostgreSQL. The host that we are using is localhost. The database that we are using is student database. Then we have a username. The username is Postgres. The password in this case is admin123. I am repeating again students, this password will be different for your machines. Next, again we create a connection object $conn equal to new PDO, server name, username and password. So when we write this statement, it means that we are now connected to the database. Once we are connected to the database, we can write our SQL statement. We use the variable SQL1. SQL1 is equals to select star from info. This is our SQL statement. We want all the records which are stored in the table info. After that, we use one more variable as SQLP. This variable is going to prepare our SQL query. In the previous example, we had executed the query directly. In this example, first we are using the connection object, we are preparing the query and then we will execute. We can directly execute, however, we should first prepare and then execute the SQL query. So after preparing, we just execute our query. Once the query is returned, we get various different records. Then all these records we must store in some variable. So we are creating a variable $result and then we write SQLP fetch all. This means get all the records which are returned from the SQL query and store it in the variable $result. So if there are 7 records, then all 7 records will be stored in the variable result. After that, now once we have the records, we have to print that. For printing, first we write echo, name and gender. This is going to be the heading of all the rows. After that, we use a for each loop. For each $result as row. This means once for each row, execute the loop statements. Inside the loop, we have 3 statements. The first statement is echo $row name. So here it is going to print name which is in the first row. It is just going to print these dash to distinguish. In the second statement, we have used $row and gender. This is going to print the gender which is there in the first row. After that, we add a BR. BR is to just come to a new line. Then, once this is done, the loop will again execute for second row. For the second row, again it is going to print the name. It is going to print the gender and then an enter key. This is going to continue. This is going to continue till all rows are printed. Once all the rows are printed, at the end, we can use conn equal to null. This means close the connection. It is always a good practice. Once you have finished, you should close the connection. So after closing the connection, we close the PHP code We close our body and we close our HTML tag as well. So one more time, let's see what we have done. First, we have stored all the required variables that are required for connection. Secondly, using new PDO, we have established a connection with our database. Once the connection is established, we write our SQL query. We prepare the SQL query. We execute the SQL query. Then we store the result which is returned from the SQL query in a variable called result. After that, we print all the rows with the help of for each loop. And finally, close the connection. We will open this in the browser and check the output. So this is the list of our files. Let us open the database files. Once we open the database file, we can see display data, which was our heading. Then we can see name and gender, which is going to be the heading. And after that, we see all the rows which are stored in the table. So here we are getting 7 rows which are stored in the table. We have also seen in the Postgres we had 7. Here we are getting 7 rows which are there present in our table. However, sometimes there are problems with the code. Sometimes the connection with the database is not established, or sometimes it may happen that there are no rows in the table, or there can be some problems because of which we cannot print the data. In that case, PHP provides us with try and catch block. Now we will see how we can write the same code with the help of try and catch block. Okay, so this is the same code which we have seen, but now here we are using the try and catch block. So let's have a look at the code. First statement, doc type HTML, HTML, body. Then we write a heading. After that, we write PHP code. We again write the same 3 variables that we have written. Now, we do not know if the connection with the database will be established or not, and hence we use try, opening curly brackets, closing curly brackets. In between that, we try to attempt the connection. So in the try block, we write the things which we are not sure of that they will execute or not. So here, if you are not sure if this connection is going to be established or not, you can put it in the try block. So in that case, it is going to try to do that. If it is working, it will proceed further. If it does not work, then it comes to the catch block. In the catch block, we are going to print an error, connection error, and also using the $e exception, which is provided by the PWO exception, we can print the error message also. So this is how the try and catch block. The code that you are not sure that it will work or not, or it is going to give you a result or not, you can put it in the try block. In the catch block, you can print an error message related to your try block. Similarly, here also we have used try. The try block, we have tried the entire code to fetch the data. That means we have tried to read the values from the database. It might happen that we do not have any rows, or the table is not present, or any other problems. In that case, it will try. If it is working fine, it is okay. If it is not working fine, then it will come to the catch block and it is going to print an error message. And finally, like the previous code, we have closed the connection. So this is the same code. Only thing what we have done is we have put a try and catch block. So this was an example where we have seen how we can read the data, and also we have seen how we can use the try and catch block. Now let us just go through the textual content of this. So database connectivity. PDO exceptions are used to handle errors. So whenever we are dealing with errors, we always have to use PDO exceptions for databases, which means anything you do with PDO should be wrapped in a try and catch block. So try is going to attempt to work. If it is working, all right, otherwise come to catch block. The part of code which may be erroneous can be put in the try block, and the code to handle error can be placed in the catch block. PDO exception class is used to throw errors due to database connectivity. The main error that we can get in the database is sometimes if the connection is not established. It may be because we do not have a database. It may be because the DBMS that you are providing is incorrect, or the host is not responding. All these kind of errors can occur. $E is an object of PDO, and using get message, we can print the error message for database connectivity. We have already seen in the code how $E works. Prep SQL is a secure way to execute SQL queries using any programming language. We can directly execute, however, it is always advisable to use prepare SQL. The method fetchAll is used to get all the records from the table and store it in the result variable. So this is the same program that we have studied just now. Here again, you can see that the same try and catch blocks are executed. We can see an error message with the help of $E and get message. While closing, we have used connection null. For preparing the query, we have used con prepare. This is how we can read data from the databases. Students, this is all about database connectivity. With this, we have also completed your PHP chapter. Thank you.